an echo? You don't? Alright. Well, in that case, let's just listen to Cosmere Chronicle! The podcast where we follow two first-time readers, Justin and Sheta, and chronicle their journey through Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere series. Today's episode, we will be covering Elantris Chapters 20 through 27. And now, here is the host of Cosmere Chronicles. This is Joe! Why, thank you, Joe. Yep, as you all heard from it, Joe, it's once again time for Cosmere Chronicles. I'm your host, Joe, like the other Joe, and Cosmere Chronicles. You could also call it CC for short if you want. Not to be confused with the carbon copy that you may do on your email. Anyways, once again, I am joined by Justin Sheta. How are you two doing this fine evening?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm glad to be talking to this Joe instead of that assholey one who does the intro.
Yeah, he's the worst. He's the worst, Joe.
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, that's why he's not invited.
Yeah.
But this week we're here to talk about, Elantris. Finishing up part 1 of Elantris.
Yeah, when you picked 6 chapters, I was reading. I'm like, a couple of these are pretty long. Why did he pick 6? Then I finish and I say, oh, I see.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I was like,
I'm greeted with that big ass page.
Well, granted, we already kind of knew there was part 1 because it was right at the beginning of the book, the Shadow of Elantris.
See, I had completely forgotten that.
Same.
So that was funny to see.
Yeah, Brandon Sanderson does that for a lot of his books. He splits them up into parts, so it's similar to like Lord of the Rings, First Law, Dune, and that sort of stuff. And personally, I find it kind of fun.
Yeah, it's cool. It always feels really epic when you realize you're hitting a new part. Tells you shit's gonna change and go down.
Yep, and I was glad to get to this point because there were 2 things in this whole section that we're reading that I've been really waiting for you two to get to. That was the Sarene meeting Raoden, and also going to the pool.
Spoilers, Joe.
Spoilers. I haven't read it yet. I read along as you recap, so.
I kind of believe you.
That's why his quotes always get stolen.
Yeah. Like, oh,
that was my quote, yeah.
All right, so that's enough goofing off. Let's start up with the chapters. Starting right up with chapter 22. Now we have it begins with Raoden and Galladon sneaking into Sheor's territory in order to try to talk to him when they get attacked by one of Sheor's men. Raoden is able to dodge the attack, and Galladon finishes off the man. Raoden notes that Sheor's men are a lot stronger because they give up all of their humanity and just pretty much become animals.
The secret to maybe fighting their pain, right? I thought that was interesting. Just give up humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and Raoden notes that Seolin has been training their people for fighting, but they cannot do anything too rough in their training because they don't want to wind up injuring themselves in their training.
It sounds so frustrating to be a guard inside of Elantris. There's so little you can do without so much risk.
So Raoden and Galladon sneak into a bank that Sheor uses as their main base. And they are shocked when they find a small girl sitting on a throne of gold bricks, wearing a long blonde wig and a perfectly clean pink dress. And she is yelling that she wants food. Raoden figures that the girl is Sheor, and she sees them and immediately tells her men to kill them.
Yeah, that part was scary to learn. What's that?
What a twist.
Of all the things I expected, I don't know why I didn't see something like that coming. Something more interesting than just a crazed warlord guy.
Another guy.
Yeah, but it makes sense with how they act because even a disorganized group, they seemed a little disorganized by that, It's just a little god kid yelling for food and stuff. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Talk about your id, ego, and super ego.
Ah, Sheta. Getting all psychological.
Yeah.
So you've got, I don't know if that works, but I'm not going to go through it because I don't think it works, but it sounds fancy.
Well, that's what she just has the the basis things like that a little bit.
Well, yeah, she's the id, obviously. you could say Katara, however you say, is the superego because she's doing something for another cause. I don't know that the guy who went crazy counts as the ego, though. That's the problem.
No, see, Raoden, that guy is just when you go crazy. Raoden is the superego.
Okay, so you're okay, sure.
Yeah, I never
Yeah.
took psychology, so I have no.
Well, the base desires, like your underneath drives, then you're kind of more normality, and then you're like sacrificing for greater things drive, basically. I mean, the concept applies, not as cleanly as you're saying, but still
No,
fun.
I don't think so.
You don't think what?
Yeah, I don't think it is clean either. I just think that having like the it is always represented by like an angry child,
Yeah,
that doesn't
just
understand,
wants immediate
like a
wants,
temper
right?
tantrum kid. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's
So
just interesting.
I bet you could write, or I bet there'd be a lot of interesting stuff to say about the psychology of being stuck in Elantris all this time. Because it does so many things to different people react so differently to it, it seems, too.
Yeah.
All right, so Raoden and Galadin, they're able to shake Sheor's men by using the same tactics they normally use. They go up a ladder, get rid of it, and the men just have not seemed to figure that out. And Raoden says that he recognized the girl. She was Telri's daughter, and she didn't have any hair, so her father had made her a permanent wig. 2 years ago, Telri had claimed that she had died, and Raoden notes that the girl was spoiled and insufferable before she was taken by the Sheod, so Raoden figures that there will be no way to be able to negotiate with her now.
It's so interesting to hear Raoden talk so, like, disregardingly and unhappy, or, like, so bluntly and cruelly about somebody. Usually he's always looking for the best in everybody, but he's like, that kid sucked before. She sucks worse now. And Telri sucks too, basically. Like, it's
Yeah.
very strange to hear him talk that way. She must have been absolutely insufferable.
Yeah. It's the worst.
All right, so Raoden and Galadin, they get back to their little community that they call New Elantris, when Raoden's injuries suddenly start pushing against him, and he is having a hard time keeping it together, and it worries Galadin. After Raoden gets control, he notices how the marble on the wall is softer than soapstone. He says that the door is linked to Elantris somehow, just like how it is linked to Erelon. Raoden surmises that might be because of the sudden disappearance of the door. The door was part of the city and was in every stone, so when that power was removed, the city was left hollow. The city is a corpse, its spirit has fled. And then Mareshi interrupts them and says that they were being invaded. When Raoden asks by whom, Mareshi says that he thinks it's a princess.
I bet you were excited by that, Sheta.
Yes. I was all jumping around. Yay!
So they go to the front gate and they see Sarene in the courtyard with a horse-drawn cart. Along with her is Royal, Shuden, Ahon, and Eondel. Raoden realizes that she must be giving food to the Elantrians for her widow's trial. Raoden knows that this will hurt Elantris. He had just been getting them to think of the future and forget their pain. If they're able to get free food now, then they will forget everything else. Once the widow's trial is over, they will go back to pain, hunger, and self-pity.
It was so interesting to hear that perspective on that. Because the whole time I'm thinking, oh yeah, getting some food in there will only help them. I'm like, no, it wouldn't help at all. It would make everything way worse. Hell is always worse when you get a little teensy weensy taste of heaven and then have to go right back to it.
I think that's one of the torture rules, isn't it? Give him a little bit of breath and then
Well, when you
put him right
reprieve him,
back.
like, I'll be back in an hour, think about what you want to say, right?
Yeah.
Or when they do like a fake rescue and they're like, haha, you weren't actually rescued. You're still captured and tortured. Like, I think Bastard of Bolton does that, right?
Oh, yep, he does.
In the show,
too.
yeah.
That was in the show, yeah.
Yeah, because all that torture stuff was not in the book.
Yeah, they cut over it, right?
You just see him. Yeah, you don't see it. Or
Yeah,
you
we
just
hear
see
him
the
talking about the
aftermath.
bad stuff that happened. Yeah, the aftermath, yeah.
Yeah.
It made me think of a episode of Angel I just watched today.
Which one was that?
The one where Angel becomes human.
Oh,
See,
yeah, and then he has to
he-
sacrifice it at the end, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yes, he becomes human, is able to hook up with Buffy again.
Yep,
They're in
yep.
love, but at the end he has to sacrifice it So she goes back, she leaves, and then he's the only one that remembers that he was human and was actually able to be with her. So it's
Yeah,
just
and
torture on him.
Yeah, leaves without even having the time that helped him be closer, so she just thinks he's an asshole. That
Yeah.
was a sad one, yeah. Yep, nope, that is an example of that, yeah.
And then Raoden, he also knows that once Sheor hears about this, then they will attack in order to get the food. If Sheor's men manage to kill a noble, then Raoden will likely decide to exterminate the Elantrians. Sarene
That
calls
or
out. What?
Oh, nothing.
Sarene calls out that she wants to talk to the tyrants of the city, Eondon, Karada, and Sheor. Raoden tells Mareshi to send a runner for Karada and to meet at the university, and to have Seolin bring half his men as well in order to keep an eye on Sheor. Raoden tells Mareshi not to leave himself because he will have to practice being Eondon. Alright, so anything else from this chapter that you two wanted to go over?
Let's see.
I just think it's so funny that her trying to help has completely ruined all his plans so much.
Yeah, I thought it would.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because what did that remind me of? Because last time I was saying how I think when you're trying to like resist an urge or a habit or something, it's hard to have that like be forced to face it. Oh, it's the easy out, Like that's just more tempting than trying to like quit smoking or quit drinking or something.
It's easier to just keep smoking and drinking, are you saying?
If someone comes and offers you something for free, like an
Well,
alcoholic
yeah.
stuck in a cellar, like
If you're
wine
trying
cellar
not
or
to think
something.
about it and focus on other things, and then somebody comes in and just keeps offering you free booze, that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, like it's just temptations to not be strong and stuff like that.
It's sad because in my head I think you can just eat the food and it'll help, but as they say lower, it really doesn't help at all to eat it, you know?
Hmm.
It has almost no benefit. It just turns them back into what they were. So it's really interesting. There's really no reprieve from how shitty it is in there, it seems like. Except
Yeah.
what Raoden is trying to do, which is, surpass your physical desires and all that.
Yes, he said that they knew how to defeat the hunger, and now
Mhm.
the rules have just gone back.
Yeah.
Yep, Brandon Sanderson, he has stated that Sarene is pretty much chaos in the book. When she does stuff, it throws chaos into plans.
Yeah, I have noticed that for the two guys.
I can't believe it's Telri's daughter, though.
Yeah, makes sense. The second they said it, I was like, oh, that explains it. Because I'm like, geez,
So,
Telri kind of sucks. His kid has to suck even worse.
yeah, but I can't believe that he has a daughter that is alive in there, and he doesn't even look affected by it and stuff.
Well, it seems to me that when people get taken by this thing, they're kind of written off as not part of anything anymore. Because when Iodin says Serena can go in, he doesn't seem concerned that Raoden will show up. He just assumes
That's
he's
true.
huddled somewhere, like half dead. Like, I don't think they think of him as people in there.
Oh,
Because any images they get, they're just like husks wandering around, hitting each other and screaming out, right? So they probably assume they have like no minds or souls or whatever.
All right, and we will move on to chapter 23. And for the purposes of this podcast, since we are following Sarene in her parts, I will be calling Raoden Spirit because that's who she believes he is.
Wait, you're telling me that? No, I'm not even going to do that joke.
All right, so chapter begins. Serene and Eondel are being led to the university by Spirit. She is able to tell that Spirit is walking with too proud a gait, so he must be one of the trusted minions of one of the gang leaders, and not a simple messenger. When she goes into the university and meets with Karada and Eondon, she is surprised to see them together. Karada says that they had recently made an alliance and had killed Sheor. Eondon tries to play a tough guy, but Serene is able to tell that he is a man unaccustomed to serious politics. Serene tells them that she wants to bribe them. She will give them some demands, and they will let whomever wants to come and get food. Karada writes down a list of goods, and Serene notes that ruling Elantris depended on controlling basic necessities and not with weapons or money. Serene agrees to the demands because she is able to tell that Karada is unwavering, straightforward woman. Serene says that Serene says that they cannot forbid anyone from coming to the courtyard. They can rule as despots, but they must let the people suffer with full stomachs.
It's so interesting too, because we've seen Serene read everyone around her, and we only know from her perspective how right or wrong she is. It's so interesting to have her using her insightfulness abilities on these people who we know are bullshitting and lying to her. So it's
Yeah.
interesting to see what things she's getting right and what things she's getting close to, But she doesn't have a lot that are just overtly wrong on her insights.
And then, after Serene leaves the room, we get an in-chapter POV change for the first time in the book.
Yeah, it broke the rules. I was freaking out. I couldn't handle it.
Like I said, Serene brings chaos, so her chapter has a POV change.
Broke
Yeah,
the
that was
frickin'
so
rules.
confusing.
Anyway, so it switches over to Raoden. So now we have a scene just in that room after Serene left. And Marishi is congratulating himself as properly playing a decisive and intimidating leader. Alright, Karada tries her best not to laugh. Galden says that Serene suspects something, but Raoden says she doesn't know what, so let her suspect Elantris and Karada are playing tricks on her. Galden asks why they didn't bring Serene to New Elantris, and Raoden says that the people of Erelon tolerate Elantris because the Elantrians are so pitiful. Their fears will surface if they find out that Elantris is establishing a civilized society. Raoden notes that he doesn't think Serene likes him very much. He decides he wants to keep an eye on her. She doesn't strike him as the type to do anything without several motives, and he wants to know why she decided to do her trial in Elantris. Alright, so back to Serene. She goes to the cart and gets the noblemen to help her unload the crates. Ahan has to leave a shady spot and complains about how the slime is ruining his cloak. Serene sees the Elantrians in the immediate area, and they are apprehensive. She says it is the look of people living in fear, and she has seen what an oppressed people look like. While Serene is unloading the boxes, she is shocked when she sees that the person she's handed a box to is Spirit. He tells her that he has been there for 10 minutes taking crates from her. After Serene unloads the last box, she hops off the back of the cart but slips in the slime. Spirit manages to catch her, and she feels that his touch seemed oddly tender.
Romantic
Bit of the
K-drama
charm.
scene.
Yeah, I was saying this was giving you some of that stuff you've been looking for, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. Can't believe she's like, there's something about him. I don't know.
His touch is so gentle.
I think it's coming off as a little more creepy, but I still like it.
I don't know. She seems really interested in him.
Yeah, they do. At this point, though, probably not.
Well, I mean, she noticed right away that he was totally lying about his deal, and nothing seems to intrigue Serene more than somebody trying to deceive her.
Oh yeah, just her type.
Serene notes that none of the Elantrians are coming for the food. Spirit tells her that they are scared and think the food might just be an illusion, one they've probably had 100 times before. His words were compassionate and not those of a warlord. Spirit picks up a turnip, and Serene is startled when she realizes that he is as famished as the rest, despite his favored rank. Spirit bites into the turnip, and Serene thinks about how it must be raw and bitter, but it looks like a feast in Spirit's eyes. And this has the Elantrians finally begin coming to get the food. The noblemen began handing out food to the Elantrians. Even Ahan was getting into it, and Serene thinks that if she could touch him, then she could do the same for the rest of the court. Serene notes that Spirit is at the back of the crowd and is studying her, but he seemed worried. She figures out that he must not be a lackey, and is instead the leader.
It is ridiculous to see just how insightful Serene actually is in this context where we know both sides. Because even though she doesn't put the stuff together, because there'd be no possible way for her to know what's going on, that she sees that he's worried and all that stuff so quickly and easily.
Yeah, gives us some insight into her other guesses, like how right they are.
Yeah,
her intuition.
Because we know she figured out Hrathen pretty much right away as well, But some of the court and Aiden we don't know for sure. So she's got some kind of power there.
Later on, after she leaves Elantris, later, Sarene is talking to Ash about Spirit. She says that Raoden kept shooting glances at him during their negotiations as if he was looking for reassurance. She asks if Ash might have gotten the names of the leaders wrong. Ash said it was possible, but the Elantrians he had spoken to mentioned Karada, Raoden, and Sheor. None of them mentioned Spirit. Sarene asks if Ash had spoken to them recently, and he says that he had been focusing on the guards. Sarene wants Ash to figure out what Spirit is up to. She wants him to go back into the city and ask about Spirit, and also ask about the Karada and Raoden alliance. She says that he shouldn't have to go far because a lot of the Elantrians loiter at the entrance. She wonders if they misjudged Elantris, but Ash says that he witnessed several atrocities himself. And then Sarene, she thinks of Spirit and how he appeared unbarbaric. He had conversed with the lords and put them at ease. She was worried that he was toying with her, and knows that many murderers and tyrants could appear friendly. Her heart told her that he was genuine, though. He also seemed particularly concerned about her opinion of him. She tried very hard to convince herself that she didn't care what he thought of her.
This is so high school.
You see, her insight powers probably let her see that he is, somebody that her feelings are probably going faster than her thoughts can on the inside stuff, because she's probably reading more about him than she realizes, Because she doesn't seem...
Fine.
No, you.
Just that her logic is not meshing up with her gut feeling and intuitions.
Yeah. Because logically, there's really no reason to be fixated on this guy, except that he's clearly more than he seems,
Mm-hmm.
But the whole little part of not wanting to worry about what he thinks of her was so funny.
It's like, she tells Ash, oh yeah, you can just ask around the front of the area. So right there, already, we know, yep, Ash, he's not going to find new Elantris. He's just going to talk to the people who are not going there anyways.
Yeah.
So all that stuff that could be found out could just be done because she's like, yeah, the courtyard, it looks like people just stay here anyways.
Yeah, it's crazy. They know nothing about this place, except what they can see when they go stand on the wall and watch in, which it seems like people don't do that often anyways.
Oh,
I guess they got enough. So what?
So frustrated about them not finding out about each other. Well, I mean, Raoden knows, but
yeah,
just Sarene.
No, it's better this way, Sheta, because then you get to see her develop emotions towards this hideous monster troll guy, and then you know that they're real feelings,
This is just like Beauty and the Beast.
It's nothing like that.
It is. She doesn't know he's a prince.
You think so? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
the beast. The beast was mean at first. He's been polite from the start.
That's why it's almost like Beauty and the Beast.
All right. Anything else in this chapter you two wanted to discuss or bring up?
I like that Sarene thought he was kind of handsome.
Did she? I don't remember that.
She said that she was describing him like he was tall. I like that for tall, he was the same height as Sarene in heels. So he was pretty tall then. Serene's very tall.
Yeah.
And then she said that the guide had an oval face that might have been handsome before. So he's handsome.
Might have been handsome.
That counts.
What do you do?
I can't remember this chapter or the next one, but she does mention that she's slowly starting to see the Elantrians and not as grotesque anymore.
Yeah, I believe that's the next one, and that was interesting that she says that they repulsed her at first, made her feel like queasy.
All you need is a little bit of handsomeness. That'll last a long way, is all I'm saying.
I don't know. Shriveled corpse people. They may be your thing, not so much mine.
I do have a type, so.
Sheta, you come off as an absolute freak in these podcasts, that?
What? I'm
I know you're
normal.
not, but the things you say like that, just taken on their own, I'm sure people are like, this girl is fucking sick. She likes corpses, she likes monsters, she likes very abusive, unhealthy relationships.
I may be revealing a bit more than I should.
Like, this girl's in love with D-Lop. What the hell's wrong with her?
That's true. Yeah.
You're gonna
Are you
get
saying
yourself a reputation. What's
are
that?
you saying are you saying Dilof's not a catch?
Yeah.
Ah,
What are you trying?
you know, I wouldn't
Yeah,
date
Justin.
D-Love personally.
Oh, it's funny.
That we'll move on to the next chapter. So with chapter 24, it begins with Hrathen on the top of the Elantris wall watching Serene's widow trial. A lot of other noblemen are watching as well, expecting the show of the barbaric Elantrians attacking and devouring Serene. When they realize that no princesses will be devoured that day, the noblemen begin to leave in board. Hrathen knows that due to pride, more noblemen will begin joining Serene and witnessing the Elantrians up close. Hrathen leaves the wall, and at the bottom, Telri's carriage arrives and picks him up. Telri is upset and says that he had warned Hrathen about Serene. Hrathen tells him it doesn't matter because the important part of the plan was ruining Iden's finances. Even though he has some new contracts entailed, it won't be enough for Iden to recoup his losses. Hrathen tells Tyri to begin implying that if he was to take the throne, then he would bring Erelon a lucrative trade deal with the East. When they get to a crossroad, Telri kicks Hrathen out of the carriage and has Hrathen walk back home.
That
Eddie.
was so funny. What's that?
I thought, yeah, it was interesting to have him kind of fight back all annoyed.
He'll have to learn how to respect us religious people one day. But for now, I'd rather walk anyways, considering the company. But that was so funny.
Yeah.
Also, I liked earlier when he's standing in his blood red armor and he felt consoled by how imposing he must look on top of the wall, but nobody
Oh
is
my
paying any
gosh.
attention to him. That was
I
funny
bet I
too.
look so cool up here. You know, like,
Was he also complaining about the heat?
Was he?
yeah, he was like,
Think,
it was super hot, but he's like, but I look really cool, so it's
Oh
fine.
yeah. He cares about that stuff because he's got to look powerful and imposing to get people to follow and believe in him and stuff. So having this thing just draw all attention away, like you said about the chaos, everything sounds so frustrating for this guy. I'm starting to feel bad for him. All he's trying to do is save the soul of this city. Is that so wrong?
Alright, so when Hrathen reaches the chapel, he hears Dilof talking to some priests about how there was a wave of conversions Erelon just after the pirate Dreot Crushthroat assaulted Teod. Hrathen thinks about this, since Dreot Crushthroat had attacked Teod 15 years ago. Hrathen had believed that Dilof was only 25 years old, but that couldn't be the case. Hrathen looks at Dilof's face and sees some small signs of age. Dilof is much more experienced and seasoned than Hrathen had thought he was.
Creepy.
Yeah,
What
that
is
was a
Dilaf's
creepy
curious
revelation.
past? What's his past?
When he starts being like, wait, this guy, what is this guy? You
Like,
know?
what did he say? Like, that's something my grandpa would say. Like,
He didn't say
oh,
that old.
pretty much.
No, I mean, just not in his 20s, maybe 30s, 40s. I doubt he's saying
No
he's in his like
way.
60s or 70s.
I don't know. It's 15 years ago.
It's going to turn out that Dilof is like 5,000 years old.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah, but even if it was 15 years ago, if Dilof was 35 now, then he'd be 20 when that happens. That still
Mhm.
makes sense for him to be.
That's more what I was imagining, not
I
the
see.
like old
I
man.
guess.
Just that he's not dealing with a kid. He's dealing with somebody around his own, closer to his own uh wisdom level and
Yeah.
experiences and stuff. It's just funny how Dilof came in as this sycophantic little nothing he thought he could use. But as it goes on, he's like more and more like, what the hell did I do allowing this guy into the fold?
Yeah. Oh, Dilaf. You're so cool.
No. No, he's not.
Right, so Raisden thinks about how Dilof likely was in the city for years, and thus had been associating and gaining influence over the other priests. The ones that Dilof would be closest with would be the most devout, which were the ones that Hrathen had kept when he first arrived. Any of the priests that might have been insulted or alarmed by Dilof's extremisms were the ones that Hrathen himself had culled when he arrived. This also explains why every priest that Hrathen offers the job of head archith to turns it down.
Yeah, pretty much paved the way for him.
In his Hrathen, he goes into his office and he pulls out a small book. It is a journal that Derethi priests are trained to record spiritual experiences. His journal only contains a few entries. Hrathen thinks about his faith and when had it transformed from a burning flame into a comfortable warmth. He thinks about the exact reason why he wants to convert Erelon and he cannot figure it out. He thinks about if Dilaf is right to try to oust him. Dilaf has faith and belief in what he's doing. Hrathen wasn't certain what he himself has anymore.
That chapter was so funny. I just wrote, Hrathen reads his old diary.
It's really interesting because when we started the book, I assumed Hrathen was going to be a man of, intense conviction and religious faith and all that stuff. I did not expect that so relatively soon within the book. He'd be having a spiritual identity crisis that was just tearing him apart to this level. It's very interesting.
It was interesting to see him as a young man, his thoughts and stuff. Like, he was so happy to find his purpose, and like he was like that. But then he mentions his old memories of his traumatic past. Also.
It's interesting how he straight up writes, I serve, the man who serves God. I am important, Like he did want purpose and meaning in his life. He had none before, clearly, and that he's not feeling that anymore. And he's wondering, is Dilaf feeling that? Is he more pure to this? Is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because all it took was one question from a freaking dementia-ridden old man to get him to question everything and break down.
Questions rattling around in his head for a while.
Yeah, but he didn't have it formed. It was in his subconscious, right?
Yeah, no, of course.
But the guy comes in and brings it right to the forefront, and now he says, I don't remember how he words it, but now that it's in his heart, he cannot just easily get rid of it. Because you can't get rid of a question like that with logic, as he tries to reason it out, but he cannot.
Yep, that seems to be his most powerful tool, and now it's not working.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, anything else from this chapter you two want to go over?
Well, that was a good one.
All right, on to chapter 25. It has been a week since Sarene's widow trial began. Different noblemen are coming every day with her into Elantris. Today, Tarina, which was Ahon's daughter, is there, and she is the first woman that has agreed to come in. And she only agreed because Shuden was the one that asked her to. Talry is also there, but he isn't doing anything, and is instead having a manservant do his work for him.
She wasn't kidding when she said that getting all these guys in would mean that the other nobles' pride would force them to come in if even Talry's making an appearance.
Oh, surprising.
That means that this was a real plan, Where before I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to follow, but it sounds like she knew what she was doing.
During the week, none of Raoden's old friends had recognized him. He is still being careful, though. Even though his appearance and his voice are different, his mannerisms are still the same. Because of this, he spends most of his time gravitating towards Sarene, since he could just be himself around her. He has grown impressed with her, but she was still cold towards him.
That's interesting about the mannerisms thing. That your mannerisms stay the same, and that
that you can't easily get rid of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just that even if you don't look or sound the same, like when you're talking to someone and they keep that's something that is unchanged and is inherent in you, which makes me think.
Yeah, you only need.
Which makes me think that's how Superman can get away with making people think he's Clark Kent if he changes all that stuff.
Every little thing. Yeah. You ever watch those scenes just out of context where Christopher Reeves goes right from Clark Kent to Superman and back again, And you really see him just transform right in front of you?
No.
Yeah, he was really good at that.
That's cool.
Yeah, look those up later, Sheta. You'll like watching them. Out inside the movie, you don't think too much about it. But when you just watch on its own, you really, really see he's two different people.
Oh, he's the best.
Even though nobody will ever match him or beat him.
One scene I always think of with him is from the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. They took that scene where it was just a test screening, so it wasn't as, well background and stuff. But Lois takes out a gun, shoots at Clark Kent, and just the way he just moves from being slouched to standing up straight without saying anything, he just looks like a completely different person. And then he tells her that, oh, yep, if I was a Superman, Clark Kent would be dead. Not with a blank.
Logically, Superman should have been able to tell it was a blank before it shot, but I'll let it go.
How do you know if it's a lead bullet?
A blank doesn't shoot a bullet.
Oh, I thought they were just blank. Oh yeah, blank bullets.
If
That
you
doesn't
shot a
make
lead
sense.
bullet at Clark Kent, he'd still die.
Or maybe the gun. The gun is a lead gun.
Also, Sheta, Superman isn't vulnerable to lead. He just can't look through it. Oh, so you're saying a lead gun. Is that what you were saying?
That's what I was trying to say.
Ah, I see, I see. I think he could still hear it, though. I don't know. I don't know enough about guns and blanks, so I couldn't say.
Right, so Raoden, he's helping them, like, what they're doing is they're filling up sacks with 3 meals worth of food in them and then handing those out to the Elantrian. So Raoden is helping fill them up. And while he's doing that, he's also secretly keeping some other food and filling up another sack with it to pretty full. And throughout the day, Galadin, Mareshi, Saolin, and Karada would regularly come and take the other bag he'd been filling up and give him another empty one. Because what they were doing is they were bringing that food back to the Hoid and feeding them, hoping that regular eating would help restore their minds. Unfortunately, it has not.
Bad. That's so nice. When they were taking the food, I thought they were storing it for like a rainy day or something, but they were just giving it to the poor Hoid people.
What do you mean a rainy day? Every day's a rainy day here.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like to barter with, or I don't know, something like just to
Yeah.
or for selfishness. I don't know.
Yeah, wouldn't it all rot, though, if they did that?
Not if you take like the dried goods and things like that. Yeah,
Did
but
they say
that
what
just
kinds of food it is besides the turnip? I don't remember.
Remember there was like a melon because Lucal was all proud that he managed to get this like really nice melon like 2 months out of season.
Yeah.
And so that's fruit, so that would easily go bad.
Yeah.
didn't
Plus, who
really say.
knows? What effect? What's that?
They didn't say specifically for anything.
I also wonder what long-term effect Elantris itself would have on food. If their crops are just totally doomed and wouldn't grow anyways, I wonder. If even the buildings are crumbling apart and stuff, and the slime is everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, Raoden, remember, he had before, he had put together that the buildings were crumbling apart because in the past they had been infused with the door, but now there's none of that going into it. The plants,
Well,
if they
that's what
grew,
I'm saying.
if
For
they
all we
grew
know, all the
plants,
dirt and everything, the whole ground is infused with it too, That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think it's a different thing to be infused with that kind of magic. Like someone would have to have cast a spell on it or something. I don't think, unless they're specifically trying to do something with the dirt, they would touch it. I don't know.
No, I think you're correct. I just wonder about it. That would suck, is all I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, we'll get an update on how the garden is going in a bit.
So after the noblemen leave for the day, Mareshi uses a sled that he had made in order to transport the supplies that Sarene has given them. She has been giving them what they want, but still finds way to screw them over. So like cloth that they had asked for, she gives them in all garish colors and designs. They had asked for some, sheets of metal, and she had given them just incredibly thin sheets of metals, pretty much useless. She gives them oil, but it's oil that burns with a pungent smell. After the thing with the metal sheets, they decide to ask for steel by weight, and she gives it to them in bent nails.
Hey, this made me so mad because she doesn't know that she's on the same side as these guys.
I know. I got so
frustrated
pissed
by that.
Yeah.
I was also pissed because I'm like, what if you insult them and they kick you out of the city? She's just too petty, It's in her nature.
Yeah.
Well, she also thinks that she doesn't want to give them metal and stuff because she thinks they're warlords and they use it to harm the people. She's trying to give them what they want without giving them stuff to be evil.
I understand her logic, but it's so frustrating to see on the other side.
Yeah, I'm mad because I'm like, why can't you give him a good bucket? Like, why'd you give him a leaky one? I was gonna cry about it. It was so sad. Like, what can be gained by doing that? It's just mean. They're already suffering so much.
Well, she doesn't know how much they're suffering,
Yeah, she does.
No, they don't even know
they're
how
at least
starving they are. They
starving.
don't know anything about them in there. If they really knew what was going on in there, they would know that this widow's feast thing is not even close to enough of what they need,
She's really ignorant about it, but no, she knows at least they're starving and they look terrible.
Mm-hmm. But she was surprised to see that Raoden was hungry. She just assumed the warlords were hoarding all the food in there, you know? I don't think they
Yeah.
comprehend that just how much it sucks in there, how terrible it is. But it still frustrated me.
Mhm.
I hope those nails come in clutch later in the story, though. That would be hilarious.
Nail bombs.
Yeah, something. I just want to say, laying out like thousands of nails around your place to stop intruders from coming in would be such a good defense here, because you step on one nail, that is going to be some of the worst pain you have to carry everywhere forever.
Yeah, do a nice old Home Alone setup.
Yeah. And Galadin says that they're pretty sure she's giving this type of wood that they want just because it'll give them splinters. I'm like, oh, Sarene, you don't understand how horrible a splinter would be. You wouldn't wish that on your worst enemy in here.
Yeah.
And they had been taking the crates that their stuff comes in. They had been taking that apart and using the wood from those. It's pretty much
Yeah, they
using
felt-
everything they get.
Yeah. And they felt glad that she didn't realize that they want this kind of wood.
All right, so they arrive back in New Elantris, and the place is pretty much empty. Before Serene's trial began, it had housed over 100 people. Now there are barely 20. Most of the people have now left and just congregate near the gates. They just wait there for Sarene to come in. And she doesn't realize it because she thinks that she's giving them, all right, 3 meals worth of food a day. But they just gorge on the 3 meals almost immediately and wind up feeling sick for a few hours, then go back to starving for the rest of the day until Sarene shows up the next day with Galadin points.
To learn that finishing their food does not cure them of their hunger, really. That's a real drag. I had hoped at the very least, you eat enough food to fill your stomach for a day, you're going to be good for a bit. It's going to be easier. To learn that it's not easier is just the worst thing to learn. I was very sad to hear that.
Yep, and Galadin, he points out that Raoden was correct. The hunger is psychological. Their bodies don't need food. The door sustains them. They find Karada, who's stitching up a large gash on Saolin's arm.
Ugh.
While Sarene and the noblemen are in the courtyard, Saolin and his men are holding back Sheor's men. Saolin's men are slowly being beaten, and it's only a matter of time until Sheor's men gets past them. When Saolin mentions that Sheor's men have begun taking their weapons, it makes Raoden realize that there might be a way to reason with them after all.
Because they're not just animals. They know weapons are useful. They have strategy to a bit.
Raoden knows that Serene's trial is important to her, that making the noblemen meet with the Elantrians is serving some purpose. When Raoden has tried to warn her that not all Elantrians are docile, she doesn't believe him. He cannot let her purpose be ruined, so they need to hold back Sheor's men until her trial is finished.
It's interesting that he's smart enough to know that she wouldn't be doing this for no reason, and anything that would drive her to do this is something that probably he doesn't want to interrupt because it could be very serious.
He's being thoughtful.
Mm-hmm. Well, he also knows who she is. If she knew he was him, I'm sure things would be going differently.
I'm all frustrated. I want him to just tell her, but he says why he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so later, Raoden is drawing Aeons again. They are still doing the same thing. They glow and then just peter out. He does this for a few hours every day and is getting very good at it. And he tells Galadin about a case in the journal that he has read. In it, an Elantrian tried to cure a woman who had been brought here by her husband of her palsy, but the Elantrian drew the Aeon slightly wrong, and the woman wound up getting black splotches and limp hair that fell out. She wound up throwing herself from a building because of the pain. Raoden says that the Elantrian had left out 3 basic lines, and that made it so the Aeon wasn't complete. Healing had started but couldn't finish because its instructions weren't there. So Raoden suggests that that is the same for them. They aren't dead, but are instead stuck in the middle of a transformation. Their bodies won't heal because they are frozen in the same moment of time. Something is blocking the door, the energy is trying to get out, but there's something in the way.
What a discovery.
Yeah, it's a very interesting realization. That's what I thought. Some glitch happened with the magic somewhere and just messed everything up. I'm incredibly curious to find out what it was, because I really like how specific the magic spells they have to do in here are. You know, we talked about last time, they're not just, magic-y foo-foo spells. They're like they're they're almost sciencey, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to me that with the palsy example, they just messed up forgot 2 dots or something to do something, and it turned her into a hideous monster. And yeah, I found that really interesting that it's so dangerous to play with these, I don't know, primordial energies or whatever, wherever the magic comes from.
Yeah. I was like, that's hard magic for you. Like, it just sounds so technical.
Yeah, yeah.
He was saying how all these things meant like you gotta specifically say like what time, like what place, like because he was practicing the teleportation spell, and he was all saying how precise it had to be.
Yeah, if somebody just
But
happens to walk past while you do it and you're fused in with them, or into
yeah,
a
which makes
wall,
you
of
think.
course.
I couldn't believe that an Elantrian made a mistake like that. Like that's really bad.
I like
They
the more we
kind of.
learn about Elantrians, the more we see that they're not like people saw them back then. They're more regular.
Hmm. Like that's a really bad mistake. Was he drinking on the job or what? Like.
Right, so now it is at this time that, Galadin opens up about his past. His father was an Elantrian back before the Raoden, but then his mother got sick and died too quickly for Aondor to heal the disease, and his father became depressed. Galadin moved back to Duladel and he became a farmer. His father died a year later from heart death. His father could have gone and gotten it healed, but he had decided not to.
It was so sad, the description of his wife. He just realized she was lying there dying, and it was just too fast to do anything about. That was very scary sounding.
Oh, how sad. Can't believe we learned about. I can't believe Galadin's half Elantrin.
Is he half or is he full? I don't
His
remember. What
mother,
did it say about the wife?
I don't think she was Elantrian.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
don't remember.
Duladel.
Yeah, but
Yeah, because he just says, my father was an Elantrian.
Hmm.
If his mother was an Elantrian, he would have said, my parents were Elantrians.
that's true.
All right, so later that night, while everyone's sleeping, Raoden comes to a realization. He bursts out of the chapel, and Galadin and Karada follow him. Raoden goes to the Hall of the Fallen and finds a Hoey that that was talking about how something was once so beautiful. Raoden tries to pry some more information out of him, and then that man finally says that he himself was so beautiful, and they realize that this man was an Elantrian from before the Raoden. He has just been pretty much a Hoey for 10 years.
Another
Crazy.
shocking revelation. Yeah,
I
crazy.
know. This whole, all these chapters have been such, like, revelation after revelation.
It's almost like we're inching towards the end of a part. Feels like.
Yeah.
I liked how he's trying to think, what is it my subconscious is thinking of? And he's so certain it's about what Galadin said. Then he's like, no, it was this totally other thing. Because when he was trying to think of what it was that Galadin said, I thought, that's kind of lazy. Like, I don't know. I thought that was kind of stupid writing if it was that way. Because it would just be like, I don't know, kind of corny. So into some totally different thing, it felt like how it feels in real life. Where when you're trying to put one of those together, you're always looking in the wrong place, you know?
Yeah, such a little part.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to think that. I don't know why we wouldn't think that there's old school Elantrians in there.
Well, like
Just,
you said, people thought most of them were killed back during the uprising, right? You know,
yeah, but, well, why would that be true? Why wouldn't there be some left? It's just
I
so
don't know, 10
crazy.
years with this to survive that long, to not, that just seems
I mean,
crazy.
they live for well, they don't die, so that's what he
We
said. He's like,
assume.
where else would they
Yeah.
go?
Yep. It
Uh,
seems so obvious once it's pointed out, but before that, it seems so absurd of an idea.
it's unthinkable.
Mm.
Sometimes I feel like our brains don't even want to think about things that are too horrible. Like,
Well, yeah.
like you would be
We
like,
don't, we
no,
don't
no.
even, yeah. We don't even want to think about our own death. Imagine thinking about your own immortality of suffering horribly. Like, that seems
Mhm.
terrible.
Yeah, but in this Elantrian too, it's he had been brought up in earlier chapters too. It's like
Yeah.
just from one of the earlier chapters, it's Raoden going through the Hall of the Hoed, and just he hears one of them saying, "Beautiful, once so beautiful."
Hmm. I didn't remember, but I assumed it had been referenced at least once.
Mhm.
So the Elantrian asked them to bring him to the lake, and Galadin and Karada joined with and journey through the city pretty much what they're doing is they're taking turns carrying the Elantrian and just looking at where he's looking. Like, if he's looking right or looking like the east way down a street, they go that way. Because he can't talk or anything, so it's just these very small ways they're trying to figure out where to go. Eventually, they reach a building that Galadin says was once a meeting house. Inside the building, there is a mechanism that opens a pathway in the floor. They go down into a room that has murals, a shrine, and another room that is filled with books. They notice that there is no slime in this building. It is the only place in Elantris without any sort of slime. There are also lanterns, so they figured that the door was not used in this place.
Ooh, a really shocking revelation here too.
Mhm.
No aeons, no slime.
Makes you wonder why. Oh, yeah, that too, yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, the aeons are what's messed up, right? Or, like, not that, but
The door.
just
Yeah,
his
they mark-
his theory about the magic not happening right, and affecting things wrong seems very true after that.
Mhm.
And it makes me curious why they chose not to use them here, why they had the mechanism to open the floor, why they had the torches and stuff.
Yeah, they ask that too. Like,
Yeah, they do.
And they had a shrine, so it's like sort of like a religious sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The
And
heck?
in here, there's a long passage, and then they take this long passage, and eventually they come out on the mountain that's right by Kay. And Raoden looks, he sees Kay, he sees Elantris and the other three like small cities around there, and he notes that how large Elantris looks from up there. Then they walk up this pathway and find a lake, which is more like a pool, but like 10 feet deep. And its water was crystalline blue. And Raoden could see no inlets or outlets, so it's just this pool. And they put the Elantrian in the pool, and he lets out a blissful sigh. Then the man's entire body dissolves into nothing within like a second.
Like sugar in tea.
Ew.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
Like sugar in a cup of tea. That's how they described it.
So
Oh, that's
Raoden
tough.
steps back from the pool, and he makes Galadin promise that if Raoden ever becomes a Hoid, to put him in the pool and not let him live in pain. And Galadin swears that he will.
I like how it was a struggle to step away from the pool. He wanted to go in quite badly.
Yeah.
He's in so much pain. The part he says earlier about the pain's hitting me worse than anyone. Or maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just weaker than anyone. I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. Like, no, Raoden, you're so strong.
I think it's because he's taking on everyone else's pain too. So the psychological aspect makes it worse. That's my guess.
I have a theory about that.
Let's hear it.
Well, he said he felt better after doing the aeons. I don't remember what he said specifically, but I think that he is letting out some of the magic in him, and it makes him feel less painful.
But why it's dissipating for a second every now and then?
Yeah, I think he has either a lot of power in him, like a lot of magic, or he is like kind of exercising that part of him that uses up the magic. So when he does, like his body kind of reacts to that, like trying to connect to the door and stuff like that. So I think that's hurting him more.
You think he still has some residual energy in him from when he was healed when he was young?
Oh, that could be it too. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that might be true.
I don't know how common that was for people back then, but no.
Well, what's it called? Galadin lived in Elantris for a long time, so I feel like he would
That's
even
true.
have
But
more.
did he ever get healed? That would be the question.
He has it in him.
Yeah, but the healing magic specifically, is totally related to this.
That's true. He doesn't have
I
like.
don't think it's related. I just wonder maybe.
I just want to know all these mysteries already.
I think
Like-
that's a writing tool to get you to keep reading shit.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, Raoden has like his Seon has the healing writing in it and stuff. Does that have anything to do with it? I don't know. There's just a lot of things that repeat or that are a coincidence and stuff, and I wonder if they are just that or if they are more. Let me just read the back of the book. Read the last page, I mean.
Just jump ahead. That's probably not going to help.
Or anything else from this chapter you two wanted to discuss?
Yeah, sewing up those stitches sounds horrible to me. Not only does the guy get a huge gash in his arm, he's also getting them sewn up. He's going to feel all of that. That sounds terrible. I was horrified to read that sequence.
Yeah, well, it sounded like Hrathen knew what she was doing, so it probably hurt less than if it was somebody else.
Yeah, hurt less, but it's still going to hurt. It's still a needle piercing through your flesh.
I thought he was quite manly for how he dealt with it.
Yeah, he's acting like it was nothing. Like,
He
little
felt
thing happened, boss. I got my arm cut off. One of our men died. We'll keep doing our best, though, sir. But we are doomed eventually.
He felt embarrassed that he got cut, and I was like,
Yeah.
no, that's so terrible.
Sarene has no idea what she's doing to these poor people.
I know, I can't believe it. She's thinking, I'm doing something nice, and then, but meanwhile, like, they're just keeping back these, like, animal people from getting in there and killing everyone.
Yeah.
Like they don't even know about it.
I almost feel like there's a metaphor in here for more privileged countries trying to help out, more impoverished ones, and thinking they can just throw stuff at it without helping the underlying problems, and then it doesn't help like they would hope, but they feel so good about it, like, oh, yeah. I helped, but you didn't actually help. You just helped yourself feel good sometimes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, with all the starvation and stuff, there has to be that in there in the class stuff. Definitely what?
Oh, I just definitely agree with just that idea. Oh, but the part where the idea of I was so mad too when Raoden was like, or saying how they were waiting at the door, mouths open, like ready for the handout and stuff. And I was like, that's why I was so mad about this from the beginning, because I was like, I don't believe in handouts like that for no purpose, for no like.
Well, they
without mindlessly,
purpose,
Yeah. Well, you don't think it through. You just mindlessly do that, and then you could be hurting a problem more than helping it and stuff.
Yeah. It's the thing is, when she comes in, they tell her that other gang is dealt with, and that they don't tell her that they're trying to help these people at all. She has no way to possibly know that this is causing so much harm.
Oh,
it's
I had
so
some
funny because everything was on the precipice of getting fixed. They just had to deal with that last gang.
Mm-hmm.
But what else you got?
Oh, I thought it was gross that Raoden thought that people's stomachs would explode when they ate the food too fast. Like,
yeah, this finally answered a question I've had the whole time. Can they digest and assumedly shit out food? And now I know that they can.
Yeah, we did answer that.
Mm-hmm. That was one of my most wondered questions. The "do you poop" question Luffy asks.
Yeah, it's so weird. I think it's kind of gross too. Like, just like their muscles, like they respond to stimulation and stuff. So like, so it's like, okay,
your bowels are like, oh, we got to digest this. I see.
Yeah, so weird.
Imagine him standing there on pins and needles, watching and nervously trying to not show that he's worried these people's stomachs are going to explode in front of everyone.
Yeah.
To be like,
we'll see. Like,
yeah. Like, oh god, that's gonna suck for them.
And to be like, don't eat so fast, but then like you can't stop them. And like,
no, your body makes you. And I've heard many times that if you're starving and you eat too much too quickly, it can have a detrimental effect.
Yeah, for sure.
He's thinking it's going to be like that scene from, was it Monty Python, The Meaning of Life? That's the one with the man that explodes.
If they just straight up like cartoonily exploded, I think we would be reading a different book.
I can't believe
disgusting. Can't believe what.
There's some pretty gross stuff in here already.
All right.
Let's see. What I had some more. Sorry. I thought it was just fun to point out that the only people that stuck around in New Elantris were the people he recruited right from the start.
Yeah, because they didn't know. They didn't want to go to that other world, right? Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, they had no other sense of where to go or what to do, so like they just stuck around. And I thought that was sense. But the new ones that were kind of just like testing it out somewhere safe to be, like they just left right away. So
But like the guy who walked in, he's like, "I'm one step from becoming a Hoid." Hoid. Yeah, well, he says, "I'm one
oh,
step
weed.
from that." Like Hoid. That's what I'm trying to say. One step from becoming that. They say you can cure the hunger. I'm willing to try anything. Those are the kind of guys who would leave immediately, because they
Yeah.
were never that into this in the first place. But
hmm
it's so sad to get the purpose to cure your hunger, but then food is obviously you'd think it would cure your hunger
I
better.
mean, that makes more sense. Yeah.
hmm Think you got
But
the teach a man to fish situation here, right?
yes, that's what I was trying to say. Yep. That's more valuable than a fish. But I really like one of my favorite small characters is Kahar, who is the little cleaning guy,
Really?
Yeah, because this is after he's feeling all like, man, we went from 100 people to 20 people, but then Kahar is still here. He's still cleaning happily. He doesn't even notice that his his cleaning helpers left, but he got a brush to clean with, and he's all like happily cleaning. Like, I just thought that was so cute. And he's like, all like, oh, don't you want to change into your new clothes? Like, just all like, just so happy to be doing what he loves or doing something else. Like,
He might
he's,
have the best job ever because it will never be finished,
yeah, right?
Like if you're gonna plant stuff, you gotta do it every day, but there's a time when you're like, okay, I can't do anymore. But with cleaning, there will always be more. And I assume the
Mhm.
slime is always threatening to encroach back in.
I don't know. They haven't said.
Yeah, because
There's
he keeps cleaning.
yeah. So yeah, that answered our thing about his cleaning tools too. He has a cleaning brush now.
Mhm.
So I really like that.
Instead of assumedly licking the slime off on his own.
We never said that. Yeah. We just
Like
said his
sitting
hands
on
would
the
get all raw.
Yeah.
And the other thing I like is that the bright clothes are so funny. I
Oh
think they
yeah, they
would
look
be
like clowns.
Yeah, I think it would be this part would be really funny in a movie. And that but I think it's cool that I think it would look cool in a movie like a Hunger Games type movie to see it and be like those are all people from New Elantris because they have this bright clothes that look like they're from the 90s or like it's just that would be so funny. Like mutant fashion but Elantrin fashion.
Yeah. Just the most hideous shit you could ever design.
Or like Sheta said, just the year 1992.
Yeah, basically. That's a year we can all forget about as far as fashion goes.
I'll never let you forget.
Well, trends always come back around. Weirdly, that one did not.
It came back in its way.
Yeah, in its way, but not in that way.
Not as loudly, no.
No.
Uh,
I really liked the imagery of the city. I mean, I didn't see it, but the way it was described of the Elantris with all these dead cities around it, I thought was really cool, interesting imagery. Now that I think would look cool in a movie, that sequence. When they finally see it far away for the first time,
Oh,
when they're in the
okay. Is that
mountains.
what happened? Like
Which
there were dead cities outside of
Yeah,
Elantris?
because the main city was one that lived, but a bunch of cities had been built up around it, but they'd all like dissipated and I think it said that the people got left over, got taken, and there are a lot of the farmers now, right? And stuff like that.
So there are
Like,
4 cities
Mm-hmm.
around, and I remember correctly, I believe the people in K decided to stay, but a lot of people in the other 3 left, and now like a lot of beggars and stuff live in those other 3 cities.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But
Wow.
they're
I did
just like
not.
these, yeah, they're just like these ghost cities, basically, which is so cool looking in my head.
That's cool.
And that Elantris makes the main city look like a freaking little mini town. Like it's so big.
Yeah. I think this chapter had the most things that were revealed and told and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, this was revelation after revelation, and yet still we barely learned anything.
Yeah.
It's like an
Reveal
episode of
one
Lost.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, but wait, that just makes more questions.
Yeah. It's so nice. Oh, one of my favorite scenes is after Galadin's all feeling depressed and stuff about how he always felt like he belonged in Elantris, and he was just like he always felt like he didn't fit in anywhere, and that he fits in Elantris. But then Raoden's like, I want to say something to make you feel better, but I know that would just not help you and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I
Depressed,
don't know if this,
like optimistic language, right?
yeah. So this is probably not going to be your quote, but he just says that you optimists never understand that a depressed person doesn't want you to try and cheer them up. Like,
Mhm.
but then it was a really
Sick,
cute
I think he
moment,
said, right?
huh?
It makes them feel sick, I believe it was something
Yeah,
like
it
that.
makes us sick, is what he says.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I totally know how you feel, Galadin. Like,
How
stop
Raiden
telling me to
responds is,
smile.
yeah. How Raiden responds to that is really good, though.
Yep, that's the part I really like. He just says, thanks for helping me and be my friend, pretty much. Oh, this is such a cute moment between them two.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them be together, but we haven't really seen them be friends that much. So moments like this are really interesting.
Yeah, it
But
was a
they've been
little.
buddies before this. Yeah. What's that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just the art. It was really artsy too when Galadin got up and he was all. He didn't look joyful, but he was great. He was grateful for him.
Hmm. Which I think
Then
is far more,
Galadin, yeah, he nodded,
far more.
stood, and then offered Raoden a hand to help him up.
Yeah.
To help him up, so like they help each other get up. I
Hmm.
thought that
That's
was
true.
nice.
Yeah, I would find to be grateful far more valuable than being joyful in this shithole, you know? Because any joy you feel isn't going to last. It's not really real, you know? But feeling, like somebody appreciates you and you're helping somebody, now that would be a positive feeling to have here. Yeah, Joe, this was the chapter that I'm reading. I'm like, damn, this is long and epic. And there's another chapter after this? Why? And then after like 2 pages of that next chapter, that's when I'm like, oh, I see.
All right. Well, we'll go on to the next chapter, chapter 26. So, Ash confirms to Sarene what she had already suspected. Spirit was the leader of the Elantrians, and they call him Lord Spirit. He's fairly new, and none of them had heard of him more than a month ago. Reports are that he defeated Hrathen and Eondon, and that the Eondon defeat involved an enormous battle. Sarene is annoyed because she is riding in the cart. Yeah, because this is after she's leaving, and she's riding in the
Mhm.
cart to give out the food, because no nobleman offered her a ride. And Shuden has already left, giving a ride to Tarina.
So, Sheta, your theories about all this shipping are being proven wrong.
Well, I said that Tarina would get with somebody because she's the only other girl.
Yeah, but you thought everyone was going to be swooning for Serene, but he's suddenly going for this other girl.
Yeah,
Well,
Sheeta, pretty much you were thinking we were going to get the end of There's Something About Mary.
I've never seen
Also,
Yeah,
that.
you're right.
the
You're
next
right.
chapter,
You've
Brett
seen that
Favre's
movie,
going to show
Sheeta.
up.
Mm-mm.
You've seen There's Something About Mary.
No, I have not.
Yeah, we watched it together.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, with Ben Stiller and stuff.
I know the movie. I just don't remember it.
Well, everyone loves Mary. That's the plot of the movie.
Everyone does.
Mhm. All right, we'll have to watch it again then.
All right, and Serene realizes that she is beginning to trust Spirit, and that worries her. He was nice to the other nobles, but he is more open and confides with her. She can see the pain in his eyes and can tell that he cares about Elantris. She has to force herself to remain aloof to him because she cannot become emotionally involved with an enemy.
I can't believe it. She keeps thinking about him, even though he's so weird.
I really should have seen this coming. They fall in love without knowing who each other is. It's obvious. I don't know why I didn't expect that would be the next sequence. Like that's the only way to write it, you know?
I like it.
Yeah, it's well done.
Later during fencing practice, Eondel points out that the women are improving. Lucal shows Serene that and Eondon's, why am I just blanking? Raoden's income figures, and it shows that he will be barely respectable enough to stay as king. Lucal and Eondel also tell her that Eden has fled the country since his land has the chasm in it, and recent rains have caused mudslides involving his field, so he cut his losses and left for Duladel. Lucal is happy with this because he felt that Eden was spineless, arrogant, and likely would have betrayed them if given the chance.
I
It
like
lasted
when
longer than I thought.
yeah, I thought he was going to betray him for sure. I like the running away, and I like when they point out that the titles here aren't going to transfer over. I thought that was hilarious. Or they don't look highly upon them in the other place. And they say, I think he'll make a good farmer, and just laugh at his misfortune he's having.
Lupo is also pretty happy because he made some good deals recently for fruit.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what's up with that fruit. They keep bringing it up.
It was just a way to show that Lupo, he still gets happy and stuff with making deals and everything. More just like a character building moment for him.
Nope, Sheta, you've uncovered the secret end of the book. This fruit's going to come in.
The fruit is going to heal the Elantrians.
No, the Elantrians became the fruit, and he knows about it. That's what it is.
That's stupid.
That's my theory for the chapter.
The Elantrians became fruit?
No, I've got a better batshit. I've got a better batshit theory for the chapter for later.
All right. So then Sarene talks to the women, and she tells them that Tarina was the only one of them trying to make change, and she actually went inside Elantris. Tomorrow, Sarene will go into Elantris again, and this time she will only bring women. So if any of them want to show they are as strong as their husbands, then they need to accompany her. And Sarene begins thinking, and she can see that the same thing is happening here, like what happened in Teod. The women respect her, but they don't accept her. By Sarene sort of leading them, she has alienated herself from them again. And the men are the same. Shuden and Eondel respect her and consider her a friend, but don't think about her romantically. Even though she's technically married and she would never respond to any advances, Sarene still craves some sort of sign that men found her attractive.
I really relate with Sarene on this. I really feel like that. I really like seeing her thoughts about that.
Her girly thoughts?
Yeah, like
diplomat thoughts and stuff.
I didn't think she really cared about that much, but we've seen before that she does care.
It's sad that she can't get that stuff out of her head when she doesn't want to think about this stuff, But she can't help it.
Mm-hmm. And also think like she's never had love in her life, or even
or
like
friends.
a boyfriend or friends or anything.
Mm-hmm.
She seems like a weirdo. Like
she's too good at her job,
Yeah, she's out of touch with the normies.
Yeah, they all respect her, but they're never going to have girl talk with her because she's not good at it,
Yeah.
All the guys respect her, but they're never going to want to date her because she's too, distant, I think, for that to them,
Undateable.
Only a real man was there to see her value, right, Sheta?
Yeah, someone cool will like you, Sarene. You deserve cooler guys than Shuden.
When she describes what
types.
You hate them?
Yeah.
Wait, you hate Shuden?
No, Shuden types.
Yeah. Hot, but kind of boring. Basic? Yeah, sorry, basic as well. No. We share the same types.
Oh, yeah. When she describes what the perfect type of man would need to be and would need to see her as, somebody who's not going to bend to her will, but somebody who will give her distance when she needs, I'm like, bitch, you are just describing Raoden right now. Don't you know?
Don't call her bitch.
I'm saying it as a friendly way.
Oh, like bitch? Like that?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You have to say it like that, otherwise it comes off.
No, girl. You don't even know.
Oh my god.
He's right there just waiting for you.
It's
just funny to me that this is written for them to be the perfect couple and then tragically keep them apart the whole time.
Yeah, I know. It makes it more tragic when they talk about when she thinks like that. Because you have two perfectly good guys who would
I'm sorry.
Be a good match for you.
Wait, who's the second one? If you
Hrathen,
say Hrathen, I swear to God, what the hell is wrong with you? I thought that had been washed out of your mind at this point.
No. And she even agrees. She can't stop thinking about Hrathen either.
And Hrathen can't stop thinking about Delof. Does that mean that they're the perfect couple? Do not say yes.
You know my answer.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Sheta, the paragraph specifically used Hrathen to contrast him with Raoden. She said that she's found two people that she finds as rivals. But, Hrathen's the one that they both realize that they're enemies. They're going against each other. But Raoden Her spirit is one where there's something else there.
Well, she compared them. She put them in the same category.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to eat my words when the book ends with Hrathen and Serene's wedding, Sheta.
Yeah, you will. I just know
Cordelia
from
marries them.
Stop.
Are you two going to make a bet?
Yeah,
A
I will
bet?
bet you $100 that they don't get married at the end of the book, Sheta.
No, not get married, but I think that they will have feelings for each other that are beyond rivals. Because I know how it is, where you kind of like hate someone that it's very close to like liking them. If certain things shift, it could be something like that instead.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, for this bet, Sheta, where will it have to go? Do they have to both state that they're in love with each other, or just beyond rivals? Could they simply be friends and that will count?
No, it has to hint at like some kind of romantic any romantic feelings for each other.
It only has
Mutual?
to hint at that?
Huh?
It only has to hint at that? Because I ain't taking that bet.
See, because it's
That
there.
could be. No, you could
It's
interpret that
there.
as almost anything. You could say it hinted
No,
at it.
no,
It did.
no. It has to be like a fact,
How about this?
a factual.
The story states that they're both in love with each other.
Love is just so strong. I just want them to like be romantically interested or attracted to one another.
She just wants them to bang. That's all. That's her bet. If they bang, she wins.
I
That's it.
well, yeah, 100%
And
win.
that bet I'll take.
I mean, Sarene has never known a man before, and Raoden's unavailable. That's all I'm saying.
Cheetah, this isn't your fairy porn book. This isn't gonna happen like you're saying.
All right. Don't call it that.
So, so no bet.
This book, I do want to bet. I do want to bet that there will be some romantic feelings between Hrathen and Sarene.
I honestly think that is not unlikely enough for me to bet. Because I think Hrathen does not contact with many women who he can respect on an intellectual level. And
so they're two weirdos. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think Serene will have any romantic feelings for him though. I could see a path to it though, but I don't think it seems like he's going that direction now. But that's not a bet I'm willing to take because I think it's possible enough to happen. I don't like the odds. Sheeta, you started out by saying they were going to literally be together, and then you've whittled it down to just they may have a feeling.
If I realistically think about it, she can only be with one person. So it just like in Twilight, she's got to pick one. Even the Queen said that maybe in a few years, Serene can maybe have a boyfriend or something, even though she's technically still married to Raoden. So it's not impossible.
That part was interesting where she says, and that wasn't the Queen, wasn't that Kind's wife?
Oh, that was her aunt, yeah. So.
Yeah, where she says, eventually you can, get a relationship on the side because to be that emotionally alone for that long when you never even got to experience it once is just too damn sad.
Yeah.
Let's get back into the story.
Right.
Hey, you're the one who tried to propose a bet here.
No, you said something originally, then I threw the bet in.
Yeah.
All right, so, anyway, Kian is talking to Serene about how he worries about her going into Elantris, and that her father would never forgive him if something happened to her. Serene points out that her father would never forgive Kian anyways, and she asks him about what happened, and he says that they were more foolish when they were younger, and they were both pathetic brothers. Kian says there was a disagreement, but he won't expand on it anymore.
I want to know.
So then, as, Serene, she thinks more about Spirit. She has found two people politically skilled enough in Hrathen and Spirit to hold her attention, but she finds Spirit more fascinating. She and Hrathen are frank about their enmity, but with Spirit, they somewhat act like old friends, and she finds that she doesn't care. No matter how much she gives him useless items, he stays friendly. She has found somebody willing to accept her. She wishes that she could be more friendly with him. The more confrontational she tries to be, the less threatened he was. He seems to appreciate her defiance.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is when Deora, comes over and asks Serene if she wants to talk about it. Serene is confused, and Deora says that she has seen that look before. She says that it must be hard for Sarene to be locked in a marriage with no chance at affection, but that one is meant for another. Deora is looking over at Shuden, who is with Torina. Deora says that she has seen the look in Serene's eyes these last few days and has seen the frustration. The two emotions go together more often than youthful hearts expect. Sarene chuckles and says she has no interest in Shuden. Deora says, "Of course, dear," and leaves. Sarene wonders what signs that Deora had seen. She's usually so observant, but this time she misjudged so grievously. Sarene shrugs and puts Deora's misguided assumptions from her mind, then sat down to contemplate how she was going to throw away Spirit's latest list of demands. That's just ends
Funny,
a
it's
lot.
almost like childhood flirting where she's picking on the boy she likes.
Yep. She's very inexperienced, it says.
Yeah, she's just doing all that stuff, thinking about Spirit while looking at Shuden, and Deora's just like, "Oh, I know that look."
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's very obvious she's got feelings for Spirit, which is a name I hate saying. It's such a weird name.
It's quite dorky, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's funny that all the women are oogling Shuden and stuff, that she really isn't that much. Like, she's not really that attracted to that kind of stuff, it seems. She's more
That's
attracted
what I'm
to
saying.
brain stuff.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, she has a type. It's a cult leader type.
Raoden is not a cult leader. Neither is Hrathen.
Cult leader characteristics.
I think
That
she's
got-
really intrigued by people who she can have a challenge with intellectually, because it seems like most people, she says that they're not seeing her in the way and like relating to her in the way she wants. But I think she's kind of bored by most people, honestly, because the things they talk about, she just has no interest in most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to point out, Shuden is not a stupid, like, just good-looking man. He is pretty smart in his own right.
Oh yeah, no,
He's
that
not
one
dumb,
part.
but he's not a challenge to her because they're not fighting each other.
No.
Yeah, when they talked about his like skills, I thought maybe her Shuden and her, but it's not exactly the same.
Well, that's what's sad too, because they do bond and relate to each other, And Shuden acts like he doesn't like all these girls, but he wants a girlier girl than her, which I'm sure would be frustrating if she wasn't distracted by, or if she was trying to focus on that and find a husband like she was back where she's from, But I think she's just given up on that in general.
Well, she's also technically married. Who knows how
Yeah.
things would have been differently if she had come here and both she and Shuden were single.
That's what I'm saying. She implied that back in her own place, when she realized, that she needed to find a husband and she was having just no luck whatsoever, that had to be when she realized that, or she talks about a lot of how most guys don't see her as a woman, basically. She's like one of the guys all the time.
Anything else in this chapter you two wanted to discuss?
No, I think that's everything.
So we'll go on to chapter 27, which I believe is the shortest chapter we've done so far in this book. And it's pretty much Hrathen having a mental breakdown.
Or
With
Hrathen.
Hrathen, it starts off with he's in his office and pretty much everything and all of his plans are falling apart. This is where he finds out that Aiden, had recovered from his lost ships, and that means that Telri won't become king. Serene's excursions into Elantris have made people no longer demonize the Elantrians, and now all the Artifs have declined to become the head Artith. Deloff is wresting more and more power from Hrathen, and he seems to be doing it with a vengeance. And Hrathen's faith is also wavering. He knows that this isn't the time to question his beliefs, that logically, he should do it at a different time where it won't affect stuff, but that doesn't matter. He's still questioning. As a Yorn, Hrathen prays a few hours each week, but those prayers are more like a meditation. But right now, Hrathen falls to the floor and begins pleading to his god. His god, which he had shuffled away with logic and understanding, and he had made impotent in his life. For once, Hrathen felt unfit to perform on his own, and for once he has admitted he needs help. A few hours later, Hrathen's prayers are interrupted. A crate has arrived for him. Hrathen opens it to find the poisons that he had Fortin bring him. He had originally planned to give it to Deloff, but now he knows that plan won't work anymore. Instead, Hrathen drinks the poison.
That was
Sorry.
really scary. But
Oh
Sheta, you
my
called it
god.
that it was for Dilaf. I was wrong.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
But I
But
like
oh
how
man,
he just chugs it down so quickly after his crazed hours of desperate praying.
this
That
is
took me by
crazy.
surprise. I thought he was about to think, no, I'll have to be more cunning. I'll have to give it to this person. So when he just chugs it down, I'm like, shit, bro, what are you planning? I'm very excited to see.
I audibly gasped when I read that. I was like,
Yeah. That was a
what?
very good spot to end it on and then have the part two,
Yeah, yeah, that was so crazy. That was very exciting.
hmm It really feels like it's going to be a turning point in the story. Like, I was pretty much settled for them to just have this little Sarene, Hrathen fighting and Raoden, like this thing be the entire book. So whatever's happening, I'm very excited about. I still theorize it's what I thought last time, though, personally.
He's giving himself the shield.
I think he's going to give it to himself and go in the city to do something. Or sacrifice himself to give the mission over to Dilaf. One of the two. I'm not sure.
He's been saying a bunch of, yeah, depressed things, so
I think he's got some four-dimensional chess type plan going in his head right now that you can only do when you're at your most cornered, desperate time.
or he just dies and now Dilaf is the main character. Oh, I can't believe it.
Did say that the potion or poison is something that takes 8 hours to go into effect.
I'm
Interesting.
sure whatever he's planning will put in motion pretty damn quickly.
Gosh,
All right.
I don't know.
Anything else from this chapter you wanted to go over?
It was just too fun to see him go through a spiritual crisis, like I implied before. It's not something I expected, and I didn't expect it to get down to this level, where like everything that he is as a character has already unraveled by the end of the first part, and he's either going to destroy himself for some purpose or be, rebirthed into something much more detrimental to our hero characters.
Yeah.
Also talks about how now Dilaf is a lot more antagonistic towards Hrathen than he has been earlier.
Yeah, Dilaf knows who's really in charge here. I'm still not convinced this isn't all in his head, but it seems more likely that Dilaf is malicious towards him.
Not malicious. I don't think he's malicious. I think he just has his eyes on the prize. So
Yeah, but I bet that he senses in Hrathen a lack of faith, and somebody
Oh,
that
yeah.
faithful would think there's no place for someone like you in our order. I should have your job.
He wouldn't say that second part, but
Well,
he
he
would
wouldn't
say,
say it, but it
but he
would
would
be my
say,
holy duty. If I had your role, I would do such good for this world, like that.
yeah, like that.
Yep, and that will bring us to the end of part 1 of Elantris. All right, so let's go to our critically acclaimed, theories, predictions, that sort of questions part of it.
Theories, predictions, and questions, or were those separate things?
Just a bunch of random words that I threw together.
All right, our critically acclaimed bunch of random words I threw together. I like it. Well, Sheta, do you got a theory before I reveal my completely untrue, batshit insane theory?
Well, I'm gonna wait for the questions.
What questions?
About what
Let's ask
theories?
questions. Well,
Huh?
I want to hear Justin's batshit theory.
I feel fairly confident that Iodin caused the Sheod to all the Elantrians, and he's behind everything. That is my theory. As well
The
as being a
king?
serial killer as last time. Yep. The king caused the
Why?
whole thing. He knows about it all. He knows more than we're letting on. He's sneaking out at night to do something because it gave him power.
Yeah, but he doesn't even
Did he
care that much.
This is literally only based on the fact that he may be sneaking out at night. And that
You know,
some
I
glitch happened, and I think that it could be that somebody sabotaged it. So it's based on those two things. Sheta,
I
what's
would
your
think that
rating?
was I would think that was baseless, except I forget that the king is actually Raoden's father. And if Raoden is, that smart and capable and stuff, like he must have got it from somebody or something.
I don't think
So,
that he got that from the king.
well, I just take for granted that he is
It seems like a
Raoden's
lot of
dad.
Raoden's nature. It seems like a lot of Raoden's nature is in exact opposition to what the king is. Like he's like, you're that way? No, that's bad. I'll be this way.
Yeah, but all the other qualities, like his smarts, his intuition, his character, all this stuff. I'm just saying
Yeah, but
that your stupid theory might be right. That's all.
Aiden doesn't have any of those traits, though, that we've seen.
That's what I'm saying. He's capable of having those things. Like I'm just taking his like angry, dismissive, like attitude. Like maybe I'm taking it too much at face value. Is all I'm saying.
Well, I would agree, since it was my theory, except for the part where Sarene came in and played him like a fiddle, and we saw how clever he thought he was. That's the thing that makes me think he's not very smart,
Well,
He
that's
sniffs
because
out deals, but what's that?
he's playing against Serene. If he's playing his own game, like for now, he has nothing to expect from her. So like he's taking her at face value. So
Could be.
you know,
I think I'm onto something there. I think I've got a lot of evidence.
mm,
1 out of 10. What do you rate it, Sheta?
two,
Did you say a 2?
two.
I knew you were going to say 2.
Really?
Yeah, because that's the correct answer.
Oh, okay. So I won.
Yes, you won.
But
I'm sure
Justin,
I'll
how
come
do you
up with.
feel? How
What's that?
strongly do you feel about the Aiden as a serial killer thing that you said last week?
Well, it's involved because he's kidnapping the servants and poor people in order to fuel the something that's causing this to continue on, to keep the door corrupted. It's all tied together. I'm going to be like those people who have these completely convoluted, absolutely baseless theories and then gets all pissed off when they're not true that you love so much, Joe.
God, no. I hate. That's the word. That's one thing that when I, with all sorts of stuff, Song of Ice and Fire, One Piece, back when Lost was happening, where people would come up with these theories and they would just say them so much and just keep repeating it that all of a sudden to them it's true. Then when the story reveals something else, they're like, no, that's not right. That is bad writing.
I will call mine the Aiden Imperative. That's what it's called. It's official now.
Oh, jeez.
Well,
you just wanted something as annoying as my love triangles to talk about.
No. This is how my brain works. It's putting this together. It's just like how yours works with the love stuff. Honestly, I think the love triangle might be a little more likely, but we'll see.
A little?
yeah. What about the there's something about Serene plot? How likely is that one?
Not likely at all now that Shuden is hooking up with this other girl.
They are not hooking up. He is just
Yeah.
using his powers to get the daughter to do what Serene wants.
I don't think so. He seems like exactly what it's like when somebody starts like taking an interest in somebody.
Yeah, Sheta, it's called courting.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
All right. So some questions. So pretty much.
Wait, does Sheta have any theories? You didn't say Sheta.
No new ones.
Nothing?
Well, I
Even
told you about my Raoden drawing the Aeons and how he has more power in him because he's learning about it and trying to connect to the door and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
that's
I like
hurting
that
him.
one. I'll rate it a 6.
Okay.
So with Serene's widow trial, about how much longer is it gonna go on? And added to that, you have the whole issue of them trying to hold back Sheor's men. Will Sheor's men finally get past them at one point and interrupt or attack Serene's food handouts?
I think that would be most exciting to happen.
But also predictable, right? So you don't expect it to.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I think something. Oh God.
Well, since you're saying that might happen, if Sheor's men do get through, will they wind up killing one of the noblemen or?
I think they will. Yeah, I think they would, because I don't know how they would escape. I think they might kill them all, and then Raoden will have to go and save Serene, and maybe he can save someone else too. But
I always thought Serene was going to get trapped in the city for a while.
Yeah, and then they'll have to spend a night together.
Oh God, no. I don't even want to know how that stuff works when you're inflicted with this.
He said it works if it's stimulated.
Oh my God. No, Sheta, no.
He says the muscles and the stomach work like
Okay,
that. So
anywho. I don't think they're going to be able to kill everyone, though, with the guards there, But I think Hrathen's going to get the become an Atlantrian, go in and just fuck up everything in a way we don't expect and make it real bad to the point where they're going to have to call in a purge of the whole city because I think he's given up on saving their souls. I think he's going to say, yeah, that's my theory.
All
Like,
right.
make people hate the Atlantrians.
All right. Hrathen caused problems with Sheta's. You have Share's men attack and kill some noblemen and kidnap Sarene. Now with the
I think you could merge the two, honestly.
all right. Now if Share's men do attack and kill some of the noblemen and women, give me a couple names. Which of them will die?
Which of these noblemen will die?
That's all you, Sheta.
Noblemen or
All right.
noblewomen. Which ones will die?
I think poor Royal will die, and I think that one of those two, either Ahon or Royal will be killed, and they'll be kind of actually sad about their nemesis or person. I think that it would be sadder for Royal, though, not because Ahon is too funny and he has too many elements.
Yeah, wouldn't that make it so sad?
Yeah, but he's got his daughter. He's got
Oh God, what if it's his daughter, Sheta?
No, it won't be the daughter. That's like Serene's only girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Even turn Sarene against the Elantrians.
Well, you know what? Yeah, kill her, and then Ashuden will have to.
Oh God,
no.
no.
Sorry. And then I kind of wonder if they should kill Telri. Like, he's kind of done.
Can't kill Telri. He's still got to become king.
No, he's not gonna.
I just realized my new theory on what Hrathen's gonna do. That would lead to
Well,
that. Infect himself, so he's an Atlantrian, and then kill the king in broad daylight in front of everyone. That would do two of the things he needs to do: get everyone to hate the Atlantrians, and get the king off the throne.
oh, Justin, that's a good one.
Now the Iodine imperative has been proven false, sadly.
Would be like, see, I'm an Elantris, I'm evil. Like
I don't
that?
think it's that, because I don't think anyone would believe that, would blame
No,
the
you're not.
Atlantrians
Take off
for
that makeup.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to take a potion to do that. You could have just dressed up like an Elantris. Oh no.
So, we're in the
Hrathen
Hrathen
goes
imperative
crazy.
now.
Shaves his head, goes crazy like a
Yep.
celebrity. Oh jeez. All
Man,
right.
these chapters have got me full of crazy conspiracy theories, just because of all
Yeah.
the stuff, the revelation stuff.
All right. Another question. What happened between Serene's uncle and her father?
Gosh.
I still think they
I know.
loved the same woman. I think it's just that simple. And one of them stole him from the other one.
So Serene's father stole. They both loved her, and
It could be a father. It could be something from earlier in their life too, and then the woman died. Could be anything. I just think it's something like that.
It has to be more interesting than just they kind of disagreed about something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
But yeah,
Unless
it
it's
might be.
something really important.
I think if it was, he'd tell her, though, right?
Not if it was like actually important,
To think about, Serene was still seeing her uncle when she was a kid, and then he stopped coming. So
Yeah,
it couldn't really be if they loved a woman, before she was born.
It could very well be that her mother cheated on her father with Kine, or Kine had a wife and the the king had an affair with her, though. One of those could be
Yeah,
it.
freaking K-drama soap opera thing you're thinking. I think it's
I'm just
more
saying,
gonna.
what turns brothers against each other? Stuff like that.
I see.
You think it's more what?
I think it's gonna be something we wouldn't even guess. Something like they had a sister, or something that is like an Elantrin or something.
Yeah,
Like
something we don't have the piece for yet.
Yeah, just something made up, something like completely turns out that like a mind blower. Everything I've been unable to predict anything that he's done, so.
You could also say it's a Kine hooked up with the king's wife. She gave birth to a daughter, and then years later the king found out about it too.
Yep, see? It can be anything.
Ain, Serene's father.
Could be, I don't know.
That would be too much.
I think that would be a bit dark with how the king was painted as a pretty upbeat guy.
I think it'd work better Cain slept with her, and then she gave birth to a son. So the heir is not technically the king's son.
Let's see, we'd need that to be more of a character for me to believe that. Or maybe the king just didn't approve of Cain transporting slaves around or something like that. That makes him like a real bad dude in his youth.
Can't remember. Did Sheta give a...
No, you didn't give a specific one, Sheta. You alluded to the
Oh,
type
a reason
of
for
stuff
them?
could be. Yeah. What's your...
Oh, yeah.
Because you got to give theories. That's what people want to hear. They want to hear
I
your
see.
totally wrong or surprisingly correct theories.
I told my theory last time, though, like, that it was something about taking a bigger role in the world, with, like, as king and stuff like that. Like, or staying more, like, isolated. Because all we know about Serene's father is he keeps telling her to come home where it's safe and stuff like that, and or where it's you know, like that whole country is really isolated from the rest of the world and what's been going on and stuff. So, but actually, I just thought of a new theory. It's that somehow he knows something about what's going on in Elantris and stuff, and he's trying to keep it away from his people and stuff like that. But then he wouldn't have sent his daughter over there, so never mind.
All right.
That's true. I think you did just disprove your own theory, Sheta.
Yeah. I'll just go with my first one where they had a disagreement about the involvement of Teo. Teo. Is Teo? Yeah.
All right, now to the lake or the pool on the mountain. What is it? They put a body in there. It dissolved within a second. So, what is that pool?
That pool is the magical equivalent of like acetone. And it will just
Oh, God.
any
So
magic yep. Any magic in you will just dissolve and it's like a base solution, like a mixer of all
that's pretty
elements
good.
of yeah.
I like that one.
Mhm.
That's pretty good. Just, yeah. So because if they're magically infected and it gets rid of it, they would just turn to nothing, right? Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
They would just dissolve into the magical ether.
So, if a
Maybe
normal person went to the pool, they'd be fine.
Yeah, I think so. I think their elements would not matter to it.
It's hard to say. We don't know enough. But it could be like the pure, what is beyond the door, what's beyond that they use the Aeons to get. It could be the purest form of that, and it just absorbs you when you go into it. Or it could be, no, it's too small for that. Yeah, that's all I got. Which would basically be very much what you're saying too, Sheta.
Yeah.
All right.
Hmm.
And then Raoden made Galadin make him a promise. So, by the end of the book, will Galadin put Raoden into that pool to be
No, he's
dissolved?
not doing it. He's going to break that promise for sure. Raoden's going to be begging him to the best he can, and Galadin's going to say, no, there's more you must do, Sule. I will not let you give up. Can't quit you.
I think that there will be no need because all the Elantrians will be healed of their sickness.
Yeah, what about when it gets to the lowest point for Raoden? Like the lowest point of the low. And it seems like all hope is lost. That's the timing I'm meaning.
I see. If he is tested, he might even bring up this conversation and say, "You told me that it was because of me that you didn't just throw yourself off of a building. So why would I change that now? If I can convince you not to do that, then I will try."
Yeah. Because a lot of this book seems about giving in and giving up into depression and those kind of feelings and stuff, So I can't see the moral being that it gets so bad you have to commit suicide. That really probably wouldn't be the
End.
moral of the story. I'd almost be I'd be amazed if that was how he ended the book.
Yeah. Well, it could be too,
you could
though.
end it that way, but that's the moral of the book. You could still have that happen without it being the moral and purpose of the book.
If he's beyond injury, beyond fixing and stuff, he might do it if he's suffering, like
Well, they even said,
physically injured, you know?
hmm but they even said that the Hoid that they have in the
Hoid.
Hoid that they have talking to them does quiet them down. It shows that even in that state, there is still hope of some sort, you know. But it's interesting that Raoden tries to inspire this in everybody, but he knows that he's not, in his mind, he will not be strong enough when the time comes, you know, to endure it.
All right. Will Sarene find out that Spirit is actually Raoden?
She has to. She just has to, or I'm gonna be really mad.
Oh, Sheta, you're wondering if the whole book goes by and she never learns it because he sacrifices himself or something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would be sad. That could
Or
happen.
if she finds out, how will she find out? Will he tell her? Will she be able to piece something together? Will
Yeah.
somebody else tell her?
There's plenty of clues in like, you know, she could easily overhear him saying like, you know, something about his father, the king, and she's gonna be like, "What?" And then it's just like, "Oh, it all makes sense."
When he says, yes, my father, the king, King Iodin, and she's like, putting together some clues here.
That would mean, yeah, you know how dumb Serene is. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, that's a big part of her character, airhead, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. No, she would find out from something like that, and like maybe too, like he said he had a lot of friends who would recognize his mannerisms. So I'm mad
She'll
because
learn.
Shuden might be able to do it because he is Raoden's bestie, but
Well,
he's
that's
too
why he stays
busy
away
with his
from him.
new girlfriend. Yeah, no, but if he didn't have a new girlfriend, he would be like more paying attention, you know.
Just want to say, Lukel is Raoden's best friend.
He said that Shuden was.
Shuden's one of his best friends, but Lukel is his best friend.
Okay.
But it still goes the same way. Lukel's recently married.
Yeah. Mm.
Sheta, you don't think that she's going to learn that it's him when true love's kiss cures the entire city of Elantris?
Um.
Get a once upon a
Why
time
would
type
that?
thing going here.
Yeah. Why would that fix it?
Just seems like something I would see you putting forth as a theory.
Wow, you don't know me at all. Unless, yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna go there.
You know how frustrating it is on a podcast when somebody says, I'm not going to go there?
I should just not say
You're like,
anything.
what controversial or stupid thing were they going to say?
Okay. Fine. Only
I'm not
because
saying it's even worth saying. I'm just saying it's
okay.
frustrating to hear.
I'll say it, and if Joe thinks it's stupid, he can just edit it out. But unless Elantrins mate like avatars, and they soul bond or something, and they find out about each other through it that way. That's how she would find out that he's Raoden.
That's gross shit. That's gross.
No, that's staying in.
That's disgusting. I don't want to think about an Atlantrian doing that. That's
They will
gross.
bond through Awa, and they will
That's
find
basically
out.
something that should be illegal.
We even find out that the Elantrians have a religion and stuff, so that's probably like a magical religion.
Yeah.
Wait, what's illegal?
Necrophilia.
They say several times they're not dead, Justin.
Uh-huh.
They're stuck in a time spell.
Which is far more interesting, yes.
All right. And then lastly, we already got Justin's idea on it. But Sheta, what was the poison that Hrathen drank?
Oh yeah. Well, it seems highly likely that it is a potion that simulates the Shayode. I don't know.
Don't you have any
It
other
could.
theories, though?
Okay. My other theory is that it has an old Elantrin magic in it. So it might be like a polyjuice potion or something, and that'll change him into somebody.
Okay, wait.
Maybe
Ooh.
he might change. He will change into Raoden before the Shayode, and then he will reclaim the throne from his father after he kills him.
Okay, his original plan was to give this to Deloff.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, he's okay. He was gonna say, "Deloff, drink this. You will become the prince, and then you will take over as king and stuff." But now that Deloff is untrustworthy, he can't trust him, so he's gonna have to do it himself.
All right, that actually makes sense.
But he
See?
said they called it poison. Would you call Polyjuice Potion poison?
Well, it might just be another word for potion. And it might taste terrible.
What would
Yep,
the king
that's
react
my...
like if Raoden just walked in slithering like D-Lof does all the time?
He wouldn't have time to react because he'd be killed right away.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So Hrathen, Hrathen becomes Raoden, kills Iodin, takes the throne,
Oh
and
god,
converts.
Sheta. That's how you can
And
have him and Sarene hook up, isn't it?
exactly.
Oh
And
god, no.
he takes his new bride.
God.
And then he finds out he actually likes her. Oh, that's perfect. I think I actually predicted the ending to this on a whim. So
Okay, Sheta, I'm gonna
Mm,
rate that
mm, mm.
theory a 1.5 out of 10.
What? It's pretty good.
Especially the part about him taking his new bride. That might get a -5 out of 10.
Oh
Okay,
no,
he might.
it does give a good conflict because then it gives Raoden a reason to try to stop it.
Oh yeah, he'd be like, "Fuck you,
No, I
man.
don't think
That's my
so.
wife."
I don't think
Yep,
we've
it
had
will.
any. I think that the Iodine imperative is more likely than that shit.
Don't stop calling it that. Mine will be called the Raoden Polyjuice Potion Theory.
Yeah, that one really flows off the tongue.
Yeah, Operation. Never mind. I think that he will. He he wouldn't force Serene. Serene, if anything, would be excited to see him, and then be
Mhm.
like,
With Serene's insight, I feel like she'd see through that so quickly.
She did compare them.
No, she contrasted them.
Well, if it depends on if Hrathen is trying to pass as Raoden, then he might act
I,
a little nicer.
I have to ask, why are we giving so much time to this theory of all things?
You guys keep talking.
All right. Okay. Okay. Sorry. That's it.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about these chapters or just part one as a whole?
I'm incredibly curious if this was part one, where so much has happened already. What the hell is part two going to be? I'm very excited to see.
I feel like we got thrown so many things in these last couple chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Part one, it's certainly a lot of, definitely the build up. It does go a little bit slower because you're
Well, it
introducing the
felt like
characters
build
and
up.
everything.
That's why it's always so exciting to get to a part two or a next chapter, because everything's set up. Now you can just click the dominoes, let everything go crazy.
Let's go to the character and quotes of the week. So, start with you guys. Who's your character of the week?
Well, mine is Hrathen, because I really enjoyed. I mean, I already enjoy the character, but I really enjoyed seeing his spiritual crisis and seeing how he acts and thinks when his back is against the wall and his belief system is put in question like that.
I'm gonna say I really liked Raoden in this chapter because for the first time, I think I really saw him like how Serene would see him, or like a guy you would like and have a crush on. Just seeing that he is like the main character and he does have all these nice qualities, and yeah, so I think this is not the first time I picked Raoden, but I really liked him in here.
That's interesting. You're right, Sheta, about how we see him through another character's eyes. So we kind of take him for granted when we're through his own perspective, When we see him through somebody else's perspective, it really does solidify him as like the main character. You're correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we actually get a description of him that he's tall and handsome, like exactly what you'd imagine a prince looks like,
Not
Like he's
handsome. He's not handsome.
he was tall and handsome though. Like that's before like he would have been the prince. Like he would have been our main character in this book if he didn't get cursed and stuff. Like I just like it.
Honestly, I don't think he would even be the main character if he didn't get cursed. I think getting cursed makes him the main character, I think Serene would have been the main character if he was just the prince, and then it
But
would
he
have
was
just been them working
also
together.
he was also head of the rebellion, and
Hmm.
he would have been the one fighting Hrathen if he.
He definitely would have been. That would have been interesting to see. Those are the two
Mhm.
characters I want to see interact the most, honestly.
Yeah.
And then my
Oh,
character of the week would have to be Serene. I know. For the same reasons that Justin said he was frustrated with her, I just found it hilarious with her finding ways to give him crappy stuff that still met their demands.
It was pretty funny. She's so sassy.
No, that made me mad. I legit got mad.
Yeah, but Raoden liked it. Raoden, sorry.
Raoden.
Raoden. I don't know why my tongue can't do that. Kind of like Joe and Ida in this chapter.
Quotes.
I'll do honorable mention for Kahar as well for the cleaning. It's my favorite character.
My honorable mention goes to Dilaf for being older than he thought. That's creepy as shit. You have an honorable mention, Joe?
Yeah, and my honorable mention would have to be Ahan. I just found hilarious with him and Royal going back and forth. Ahan was found a nice shady spot. They had to come out, complaining about how his expensive clothes all were getting dirty. Royal telling him, well, you shouldn't have worn expensive stuff. All I own is expensive stuff.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll go to quote of the week.
All right. I liked the quote from Galadin about how the Elantrians of old were as exiled as we are today. No matter how beautiful they may have been, people don't want to live with something so superior to themselves. They can't stand such a visible sign of their own inferiority. And it just gave us some insight about how it actually was. And that I think that's a theme about that too, about like why they fell and stuff, why like servants hate them, people hate them, like
the opposite of what they are now and how people see them. Is that what you're saying?
the opposite.
Yeah, how people see what the current Elantrians are, which is this diseased, rotted things they look down upon.
Oh yeah, that they weren't so different, yeah, in that way. Also,
Well, no,
a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, gone.
Huh?
Nothing, gone.
Just that they weren't really like the gods and stuff like that. That some people thought they were. Like we keep seeing more and more evidence that they were just people.
People who just had access to these, or the knowledge of these symbols and powers, right? Is that what you're saying? That's a cool one. My quote is not very exciting. It's basically just about Hrathen's inner thinking. But it's when he's questioning his beliefs, and he hears the priest whispering in his mind, demanding to know what happened to his beliefs, demanding to know the purpose behind his preaching. Had Hrathen become cynical, performing his duties simply because they were familiar? Had his preaching become a logical challenge and not a spiritual quest? We knew in part that it had. And when he says he enjoyed the planning, the confrontation, and the thinking it took to convert entire nations of heretics. I just like that little insight into why he's so good at his job and why he's so attracted to it, and how, even though his spiritual belief has faded, that's what's kept him so strong into it all this time. I just found that all very interesting that he is aware of that about himself, because those were things that I'm sure we all kind of noticed about him across the book. It's interesting to hear a character realize what, usually only the audience would see in themselves.
Yeah, I like that part too.
Yeah, my quote is with Raoden at the pool. All right. The man floated for a moment in the vivid sapphire water, then released a blissful sigh. The sound opened a longing within Raoden, as intense desire to be free of his pains, both physical and mental. The old Elantrian's face seemed to smooth, his eyes alive again. Those eyes held Raoden's for a moment, things shining therein. Then the man dissolved. Dolikin! Galden cursed as the old Elantrian melted away like sugar in a cup of odorless tea. In barely a second, the man was gone. No sign remaining of flesh, bone, or blood. I just like it because it adds a whole lot of mystery and to what's going on. Also makes you think if this is what, Elantrians, if this is like their whole funeral, like do they just do like a ritual suicide thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pretty dark.
Or maybe they need to get rid of the bodies after death because it's bad, because they get all weird or something.
I don't know. Well, yeah, they talk a little bit about, like, do Elantrians have funerals and stuff? Like,
yeah.
Like, have you ever seen one? Is that like, yeah, really interesting.
All right. Well, next week we'll be starting part 2, which is called The Call of Elantris. And we will be doing chapters 28 to 35.
Those better be some short damn chapters.
Yeah, from this point on, the book has a lot more shorter chapters.
Yeah.
I think what happens is, because you're getting into more of the action stuff, you're switching chapters because it just makes the pace feel like it's going.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so 28 through 35 for next week. And then
Cthulhu. Sounds good.
Yep. And then just once again, a reminder to anybody who wants to read along, when you're done with this, right now you want to pick up both Arcanum Unbounded, Arcanum, and then Unbounded, because we'll be reading a short story from there. And then also you want to pick up Mistborn, The Final Empire, or it could also be called just Mistborn. And that will be the next novel we'll read after we're done with Elantris. And then we'll go right into the plugs. Since you complained last week, I'll let you two do your plugs first.
Did I complain?
Yes. You're like, oh, no one's going to listen to my plugs now.
My exciting plug is that if you want to read comic books on the internet, you can go to my Instagram, Tapas, DeviantArt, or maybe other places that I'm forgetting, at Profanity Beaver. And then you could read them and maybe even see some drawings that aren't in comic form as well.
That was really good.
Yeah, beat that, Sheta.
Oh, I can't. If you want to look at more art, the illustrative type, you can follow my Instagram or check it out, Sheta_low. And I usually post drawings and sketches and things like that, and occasional pictures on there.
You did it. You beat me.
And then
Wow.
just for general Cosmere Chronicle stuff, we have an account on Key, the most ancient letter, also known as Twitter.
That's a good way to get around calling it X, Joe.
Just always reference Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep.
Yep.
It's at Cosmere Chron, CosmereChron, and nothing really exciting there. Maybe we'll start putting stuff on there, but right now it's just, here's when the new episode's out. If you want to leave, replies, you can always check out the YouTube and just leave a little comment in the YouTube. Or, if you want to contact us directly, CosmereChronicles@gmail.com. It will go to me directly, and so if you want to put spoilers, you can. It will. Those other two, they will not see them.
He thinks we don't sneak into his account to read them, but we do.
All right, and I think that's about it. So that's going to be it for this week. Once again, chapters 28 through 35 for next week. And so everyone, have fun.
Or else.
Okay. Goodbye.
Toodaloo.